we have seen major flooding in this town. There is major impact to the community here with several properties with overflow flooding. So it's going to be a big couple of days of emergency response in this community until these floodwaters recede, and then we can get in and do those damage assessments, and then that whole clean-up phase will start. But in good news, down at the Murrumbidgee River at Wagga Wagga, North Wagga, we have this morning issued a return with caution, so those communities can start heading back in and doing that damage assessment, obviously with some caution there. But the threat remains across Western and Southern New South Wales with major flood warnings on many rivers across the state. So on the Murrumbidgee, as that floodwater heads down towards Narrandera and then Hay, further down along the Murray River at Moama, we've got the flooding down there. And then obviously here at the Lachlan River at Forbes and downstream towards Condobolin, probably next weekend, where that floodwaters will reach its peak down there. And then obviously our towns around Walgett, Lightning Ridge and Coloranabri, which are likely to be isolated for a few weeks. And New South Wales SES is coordinating with suppliers to get urgent deliveries into those communities so that the shopping centres can get restocked and resupply those community members in those towns.
And that peak was slightly below what was feared, that 70-year record that it was expected to reach. Is there a fair bit of relief in the community there?
I think there is a fair bit of relief that it didn't quite hit that peak, but it was just below it. So the impact in this town has been significant. There is a lot of floodwater here. You can probably see behind me, it's still extremely high and likely to stay high for probably 3 or 4 days before we really start to see a decrease in the flood height here. So it's a slow going flood. We're going to try and get in as soon as we can to do those damage assessments, and we do have 50 ADF here in Forbes ready to assist with the clean-up operation that's necessary after a big flood like this.
There is a huge clean-up operation ahead, and a lot of residents had evacuated. Is there any sense of when they may be able to return? I imagine it's after that danger assessment.
Yeah, most definitely. So in line with that return with caution that we've just issued for North Wagga, we need to get in and do that damage assessment here in Forbes, and then we'll be able to issue that return with caution. But as soon as these floodwaters get to a safe level, we'll get in, we'll do those damage assessments to understand the impact on those homes, and obviously record the flood levels for future reference and intelligence for the next flood. And then obviously we're working with the council and emergency service partners, plus also the ADF, to get in and assist those community members. So mammoth task ahead.
Absolutely. What does it mean, and what's the advice in place for those communities downstream that you mentioned, places like Condobolin, because there are still real concerns around the flooding in those areas?
Yeah, that's right. As these floodwaters head downstream, there's a lot of risk that's going to eventually head downstream and impact those towns. So our advice is to prepare now, review your flood plan, understand your risk. If you need to leave early, understand when that time is and leave when it's safe to do so. Don't wait till the flood starts to impact your township or your property or your house. Leave early, be safe. There's always friends or family if you've got them. If not, evacuation centres when they've been set up. But just don't take a risk. It's probably our best advice. Don't drive through floodwaters. If you come across a flooded road, contact the SES on 132 500 or 000 if you feel your life is at threat. And we, our partner emergency services, will do our best to get out and assist you. There's no need to risk your life, your friend's life or your family's life. Please stay out of flood waters. They're an unhealthy place to be. There's chemicals, contaminants, there's debris, and a lot of animals that have been perished in this flood. So wherever possible, just stay out of floodwaters and keep our rescuers out of floodwaters. We'd really appreciate that.